It's the Exit 52 podcast presented by Jimmy Seafood. And fellas, I'm feeling some tension. I'm feeling some stress. I'm feeling some nerves about the state of this Ravens season. We did not do an instant analysis podcast. Apologies to listeners for that. Some scheduling snafus. But we are back here, so we're breaking it all down from Ravens Browns on Saturday night, and really the 3-day, I guess, aftermath after this one that has left some concerned, some resilient. There's people in the Ravens facility. We're not sure. You know, we got Tyus Bowser apologizing for Instagram posts. We've got Sammy Watkins back on the team. We've got, Lamar Jackson probably still not healthy. We will see. We've got a variety of things going on. Banks, you were on Twitter Saturday night, Sunday, seemingly trying to be the voice of calm, the voice of reason, which many times you are, at least more than many others were. How do you feel now on Tuesday, outside of the fact that you're staring down like a 14-hour drive tomorrow? Outside of that, how are you feeling about the Ravens coming into Christmas Eve, playing Desmond Ridder at 9-5 with seemingly the season on the line, even though it's not clearly on the line, but seemingly with the season on the line at home?
You're changing the question like as just on the fly here. I feel like I have 5 different questions to answer.
There's a lot good. There are a lot of different questions to answer right now. So probably
there are a lot of questions and there are very few answers. I don't feel good, Taylor. Doesn't feel good. Saturday night didn't feel good. Today didn't feel good. Losing Devin Duvernay. Twitter's a fucking firestorm.
Awful.
More than usual. It's awful.
Thanks,
I'll get to probably dive into that more. Yeah, thanks a lot. The loss, let's start with the loss. That loss stunk. That was a trash performance. That was so sloppy. That was so poorly coached. It was ill prepared. It was disgusting. I'm almost at a loss of words 3 days later. And you can't expect your team to come out on the road with a backup quarterback and fire on all cylinders. But this is a sign of a pattern for weeks now offensively. The offense is just an absolute shambles, or at least the passing game, as can be expected, is absolute diarrhea right now. Diarrhea. It's just wet poop. The run game is there. The numbers are there. They're shoving it right down people's throats. And that is part of what makes Saturday so frustrating, is because there was a pathway to win that football game. And it was to run the football and then run it some more. There were a handful of plays, and I blogged this on Sunday. There's a handful of plays, and I think if they just avoid fucking up 2 of them, just avoid it twice, they probably go on to win the football game. You got the annual shocking miss of a field goal by Justin Tucker. That one we forgive. It comes around every year. You hope it doesn't come at a bad time. There's probably going to be worse occasions for him to miss where he's going to make it this year. He already has. Justin Tucker, obviously very forgiven. The block kick, that's another example, but out of his control. That just sucks. That happens in football sometimes. It happened to the Steelers the week before. The other 3, a DeMarcus Robinson fumble, especially after he fumbled on the first drive of the game, which is absolute carelessness with the football. And he was careless with it again and was not stripped at another point. Mm-hmm. And then he actually kind of protected the football a little bit. And then as soon as he felt like the danger had kind of eased off of him a little bit, there comes the punch out. But there's no excuse for anybody who's fumbled the way that he fumbled the first time to fumble again in that football game. So that's another example. The Tyler Huntley interception on a slant is baffling on a lot of fronts. It's a bad throw by Huntley. It's thrown to a player who should never be running that route in that given spot. There's a deeper issue at hand that is just a discussion that's been ongoing for 25 years in Baltimore, just about receivers as a whole. But obviously the passing game's in shambles. But if we can just not throw that interception and just take the 3 points there, then something different might happen. Who knows? And then the last one is, and this was actually the first one of the game, was the opening drive, Patrick Ricard, 4th and 1. Hell of a play by I think it's John Johnson to knock him back. I mean, he's hell of a play by him, but QB sneak. I don't know how much people have to just yell that on Twitter. People yelled on Twitter for a good 5-6 years. We're talking about general NFL football Twitter about the fade route, the goal line fade route. And people yelled and screamed about it for a long time, and it kind of went away. It's gone. Twitter won that one. It's time for NFL Twitter to win the QB sneak thing. Everybody should be QB sneaking on 4th and short. We somehow find a way to fail it more than most, but it's still the most effective way to just simply get a yard. And Tyler Huntley's done that better than the Lamar Jackson has. But he should have done it there on Sunday or Saturday night. So all those things together, I mean, there's an argument to be made that we should be taking the 3 points there, but still, we do any of those things and we're not in scramble mode early in the fourth quarter. And this is where a ton more frustration comes in. We're not in a panic position where we're throwing the football the entire fourth quarter. We're right there in the game and we do the things we need to do and we probably win that game. So this was a game where a lot of flaws were exposed in a big way, and things that people have been screaming and whining about on Twitter for weeks, they finally had their day to just go for it, and just really let loose. And a lot of those things are valid. I mean, the wide receiver situation for this particular season, it should have been supplemented behind Bateman. There's no question about that. He's already injured early in his career. They trade Hollywood Brown. So they've got Rashad Bateman, who's up and coming. I love him as a player. He's got great ability. He hasn't proven all that much in the league. It was a risk and a bad risk to think that he was going to be able to carry receiving core, especially when there's no promise that he was going to be healthy. So when he goes down,
the fact that they failed with the receivers. They failed. It
would look like less of a failure if he was healthy, but that's part of the issue, is just you can't take that risk.
They also there was no steady hand behind him to, take any of the pressure off of the fact that, despite the fact he's a second-year player, everybody else was also a very unproven commodity in terms of who they were going to put behind Bateman. Duvernay, say what you want, was an unproven commodity. James Prochet, all these other guys, totally unproven commodities, despite the training camp hype or the preseason hype or the let's watch 4 highlights of his college career and get really excited that this is a Ravens steal. Ultimately, these people are 5th, 6th, 7th round picks. Maybe they hit. Maybe you get Stephon Diggs in the 4th, 5th round, whatever. Most of the time, you do not. So, the fact that was the level of receiver behind him and there were no, veterans brought in, and it's easy to say this now, but it now is an incredibly glaring issue, as you said, and is not necessarily, the reason why they lose the game on Sunday. But in a situation where they got behind and they wanted to pivot away from the running game for whatever reason, there was no one out there that was the adult in the room at the receiver position who was no, just I'm going to go get down the field and Tyler Huntley's going to be able to deliver me the ball and I'm just going to do what I have to do with it. There's no Steve Smith. There's no Anquan Bolden. There's no take your pick. Michael Crabtree. There's no take your pick of a guy that is proven to be a pass catcher in the NFL. Demarcus Robinson is not. James Prochet is not. Anybody else they've pretty much put on the field this year is not. And, we'll get to Sammy Watkins at some point, but as you said, there's a lot of reasons why they lost the game on Saturday, but this is all of these issues, as you said, are now coming to roost. There's issues getting exposed. And, I think of all of we've for the most part done a lot of hey, don't totally throw Greg Roman into a volcano every single week. It gets a little bit ridiculous. But in this particular games with the conditions the way they were and everything, I think anybody would have been fine, despite the fact that they were behind, with him going down running the ball 45 times. Yes, you have to like vary it up and you can't just line up and hope to run. But in a situation where Tyler Huntley is just kind of fine anyway, and he has nobody to throw to in those conditions, as you said, that's a poorly coached game. Like somebody's got to make a decision on the sideline or in the booth that like we have no passing game. We just don't have it. Like you hope to have it. You hope that you can be balanced, and they were super balanced. They threw it 30 times and ran it 28 times. And in a normal situation, that would be good. Like you would like that kind of balance when you're averaging 7.1 yards a carry. You'd think you're on your way to having a great offensive day if maybe you have that much balance. But at a certain point, like they just don't have it. And the question becomes like, are they ever going to have any semblance of a passing game? Because at a certain point, the Browns are the worst rush defense in the league. But when you play somebody that's better, you're going to eventually have to throw it. And they are at this point have no ability to throw it. So, and I know Mark Andrews is there too. I know it's not all wide receivers, but they are, they offensively have some huge questions. And it just shows you how Lamar Jackson dependent some of the things that they do are, because that allows them to open some more things up. But, how much more would Lamar? We've seen Lamar in those type of conditions in Buffalo in the playoffs. He was terrible. So would he have been? He would have been a better option, obviously, in that game. But I don't know. It's they have some offensive concerns that come from both coaching decisions they made and coaching decisions they made on Saturday and personnel decisions they've made over the past couple of years. So, and now it's a fever pitch. Now it's, you're right. You guys are both right. Twitter is insufferable. This is an insufferable time. And if the team is 9-5, I was like talking to a friend today who was like, at least you're still 9-5. I was like, not a bad point, but it feels like 9-5 fading, not 9-5 rising. And that's a very tense position for everybody to be in.
There's a vantage point for you to it's there for you to think about, okay, 2 divisional road games and you're stuck with your backup quarterback. You hope to go 1-1 in that scenario. And that's what we did.
Yeah.
But there's just no good taste that's left in your mouth with the way they're playing. And that's kind of the identity with the way that they're trying to win football games. There is no, and we do this every week. Oh, this is a get right game. There's no such thing as a get right or an impressive win when your identity is to just smother teams with defense, run the football, and hope to hit a pass or two throughout the game. There's just no way to do it. And when you lose, it looks really bad. And when you fail to do really simple football things like protect the football, miss kicks, fail 4th downs, botched snaps. Like there was a 3rd down with Duvernay on a jet sweep. I feel like we do that at least once a month now. Like just those types of things. Like you use no margin for error. It's basically when you do that for both teams, your opponent and you're just decreasing the margin of error, and it's whoever makes the more mistakes is going to lose. And we were just so sloppy on Saturday. So
the funny part is you have a fan base that's sort of conditioned to appreciate winning games that way. That like built,
you would think
that you would think, and maybe there are some people out there that need to be a little more. But as you said, you can do that to a point. But the problem is, as you said, Banks, when you lose the game the way they did, where there was poor decision making, sloppy play, that's the stuff that as a fan it's hard to tolerate. And I think Ravens fans, I would think, based on the history of the franchise, will be fine with the overall identity. But that identity comes with being very sound in all the different things, and coaching, being really sound in special teams. As you said, there's inevitably a time where Justin Tucker misses a couple kicks. I mean, the guy bails the team out every other week, so you can't be mad at that. But execute on special teams, not turning the ball over, punching the ball in, when you get down in the red zone. You're going to have to do those things if you're going to win this way. And they were able to do enough of that against Pittsburgh to get a win and couldn't do enough of that against Cleveland. And now we saddle up again for what will, I'm sure, be another ugly game against a team in Atlanta that does not have a lot offensively. And, the question is, can the Ravens break out of some sort of funk and just it feels like if they could just get to 20, they're going to have a good chance to win any game at this point. If you could just get to 20, you're going to have a good chance to beat the Falcons. But can they get to 20? We shall see.
And I mean, like you said, it's going to be an ugly game just because I think of who's on the other side, and not an ugly game like, oh, it's going to be two good defenses. Just because, again, I think because and again, it's Tuesday night. We still have no idea what's going on with Lamar. He didn't practice today. The rumor last week, I think from Shefty and them, was that the Christmas Eve game he was going to play in. When is he going to have to practice to play? Is it going to be tomorrow? Is it going to be Thursday? Like, so that's something to keep an eye on too. Um, and then I mean, we'll talk about some of the other injuries too. But even though I think he was bad in the game, and this is no stats to back it up, it was just my eyes. Marcus Peters, I mean, that's a decent size loss too with that calf strain, I think. And then Calais Campbell with his knee. I think that's the big one to worry about. The big guy right in the middle. So, again, another week where it's just injuries are gonna be a big story. And like you said, I mean, if it's Huntley versus Desmond Ridder, I don't know. I guess advantage Huntley because again, we've seen him be flawed, and some of the takes are being walked back from last year where it's like, oh well, maybe you can trade Lamar and keep Huntley. And it's like, well, now I don't think that's the deal. But yeah, it was ugly last week. And again, all these stats that I was seeing on that Saturday night, and again, I'm sure you guys saw them. Ravens were the first team since 2012 rush for 200 yards or more and score 3 points or fewer. Gus and J.K. through 3 quarters, 19 carries, 176 yards. Fourth quarter, Dobbins obviously 0 carries, Edwards 1 for 4. Yeah, and then Warren Sharp that said this game has been a Greg Roman special. Running backs are averaging 8.7. Yet Huntley has 28 attempts. They're only averaging 4.8 yards a pass. First worst run defense in the NFL since at least 2000. That's insane. And I know that they were down 10, and they needed to be able to try and pass the ball, but it's just like, thanks. I don't remember what game it was when you said it, but you were like, this is a game where we can't go away from the run. It may have been the Pittsburgh game. I don't know. But you were just like, we can't go away from the run, even if you get down. And I think that's exactly what the fourth quarter was. Like, I mean, Dobbins looked awesome. And yes, he doesn't still look right. He's not 100%. That left leg is still dragging. But he was awesome. Again, it's like run those guys until you can't run him anymore, I think. I mean, that was just a very weird game. Again, ugly game, gross, and Cleveland had more than enough offense to pull it out. And I thought they looked like a much better team than the Ravens did on Saturday. But again, 9-5. I mean, I think they're the top wild card seed right now, and a decent chance to get win number 10, which I think if they win, they clinch a playoff spot, correct?
They need a Jets loss and a Dolphins loss, I think. There's a couple other scenarios too.
Yeah.
So there's also a scenario where they could lose and 7 other things have to happen. They could still clinch.
In. Yeah. So again, I mean, there's a decent chance that they'll win on Saturday. I mean, because I haven't looked at the line or anything. I'm assuming they're favorites. It's at home. Again, you're going against the guy making like his
7.5.
Oh yeah. So again, it's things are not all doom and gloom like they seem on Twitter. Again, I mean, like I said a couple of weeks ago, I don't think this is a Super Bowl team. And like we've seen, I mean, with this offense, I don't think anyone could be confident with them going up against the Bengals, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Chiefs. That wasn't the case a couple of weeks ago where you were like, yeah, the defense is playing well, the offense is playing well enough, and now it's like, I mean, I don't. It's going to be tough sledding for them in the playoffs.
I think that they can beat those teams on a given day, but it's just not a sustainable way to plow through on a run. You just can't go on a run playing this style of football.
Yeah, because it eventually just catches up to you. Yeah. I mean, it's just going to stop somewhere. Correct. You have to be able to score a little bit more.
I mean, it's the Titans in 2019.
In quotes, today's NFL. Quote, today's NFL.
The Titans in 2019, where they went to Baltimore and won, had relied on the running game, or they went to New England and won, relied on the running game, went to Baltimore, won, relied on the running game, went to Kansas City, was up. They were up, I think, 14-7 or 10-3 or something like that. Relied on the running game.
No, dude, it was like 24-0, wasn't it?
No. That was the Texans game. It wasn't. They were up. It wasn't that bad. Okay. It wasn't 24. But yeah, they were up, and then again, it's like when the wave of offense comes, you're going to have to be able to withstand it and then put an offense together. And if you can't pass the ball, and I mean, it's clear that Andrews is not healthy. He just hasn't looked the same.
I was gonna say we haven't been able either. Defenses have caught on how we've been able to get him open and get the ball to him and taken that away from him, or he's just not himself because he's not producing. He's not getting even targets or opportunities the way that, because when Lamar went down last year, Huntley leaned on Andrews even more than Lamar did.
And
so
that's usually, because again, I have him in fantasy. I've been picking him in DraftKings and stuff like that. My thought is like, okay, when a backup or a rookie comes in, pick a tight end, because again, it's kind of like a safety blanket. They know where they're going to be. They're not running these long patterns down the field. So again, it's like, that's why it made sense last year when Huntley was relying on Andrews a lot. So I figured it would be the same thing once Huntley came in this year, and that's not how it went at all. And so again, it may be a combination of both. Maybe guys have caught on, maybe teams have caught on. And again, maybe he's still just not right. And again, it's like likely is not getting really any of the looks. And like you said, I mean, other than that, the guys that you were naming, the DeMarcus Robinsons, the Duvernay is now done for the year. Josh Oliver, like those guys don't scare you. There's nothing there that puts any semblance of like, oh shit, we got to make sure this guy's covered. They're just not there. Like no one is afraid of Deshaun Jackson, like you said, outbodying them on a slant on the 5-yard line.
It's tough. It's tough sledding right now for what they're trying to do.
Yeah. And the press conference yesterday we could talk about that a little bit. It is insanity that people thought that John Harbaugh was going to show up to the microphone at his weekly press conference at 3:30 and just say, hey guys, want to let you know that we just let Greg Roman go. We'll be putting blank in as offensive coordinator in week 15 of the NFL season as we're fighting for a playoff spot with a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
In place.
He's not going anywhere. I don't understand why people keep thinking this is going to happen every week. It's not happening. The guy's the offensive coordinator until the end of the year.
I'm prepared for him to go. Like I've reached that point. It's stale. It's not working. Something has to change. That's where you start making those changes. But right now, to bring somebody else in when you've got a backup quarterback, and then when Lamar gets back in the mix, you got to try to like teach him and get him reps in that whole situation when his knee's not right. Like it's just not a viable situation it's just not an option. So John Harbaugh goes to the mic and what's he going to say? Is he going to say, well, this guy, I'm stuck with this guy. I can't fire him. Like, no, he's got to back him up and say, he's got our full support. The guys in our locker room fully support this guy. It's the only way to keep a cohesive locker room. And there's probably some discontent in the locker room about the performances, and that might, a lot of whispers behind backs. I don't know, but it's the only way to go about it. It's the only option. So people came into that press conference wanting one thing and got so disappointed when Greg Roman still had his job at the end of John Harbaugh talking for 15 minutes to the media. It's just, that was the peak. It was worse than actually the night when they lost, I thought. It was insane. And I've just sat there. There's nothing for me to contribute to the conversation because I like at the point where I get it. The offense stinks. Something has to change. You can't just make that change now. You can't just blindly fire people and just, expect that it's just going to boom.
Well, everyone
is a better situation now. Like it's just not the way things work.
Everyone wants it because of what happened in 2012. Like, oh, well,
sure.
we fired Cam Cameron, and then you end up winning the Super Bowl. And it's like, well, again, that was a once in a lifetime team that went on a once in a lifetime run. Like that's not, you can't just fire your offensive coordinator in week 14 or 15 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
with a backup
with Anquan Bolden and Torrey Smith and Jacoby Jones and Dennis Pitta and a good offensive line and Joe Flacco and Ray Lewis coming off of injury and Terrell Suggs coming off of injury, like all kinds of things, reasons why that bad situation became good situation.
Well, again, but people see that and go, well, we've done it before. We can just do it again. And it's like, no, you can't. It's not how it works. It's not Madden. You can't just turn it on and you go, and you're good to go from there. But again, I mean,
now with that said, Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say what fueled all that stuff was the notes at the castle, the Tyus Bowser Instagram story,
Sure.
which
Bizarre.
we have to. I mean, we
It's
have
weird.
to get into that. There is
I
a
don't know
lot
what
of
to say
conspiracy
about it.
theories. It's
A lot of dumb shit shows up on Instagram stories.
well, I thought number one that it was wild that a player posted it, and he obviously came out today and was like, "Yeah, I shouldn't have done that." I mean, whether I don't know what he probably saw it and just took picture or took a video. I was like, "Oh, this is wild," because there were people who were like, "Oh, look, Bowser wants Greg Roman fired." Like, I don't think that's the case at all. I don't think Tyus Bowser's walking around with fire Greg Roman, thoughts going through his head. But just the fact that he shared that and it looked like he was putting his support behind it, like it was just a very bizarre thing. And like, who left the notes? How'd they get there? So I don't know. It just added into the weird Twitter week. Like that was everything with the Ravens.
Can I just say this? If you and maybe this is look, people can express their fandom any way you want. If you're like driving to the Ravens facility and putting fire Greg Roman pieces of paper outside, I personally think you need to reevaluate your priorities, no matter what you think of Greg Roman. That is a very interesting life decision to make.
If you're willing to trespass and get arrested to drop some pieces of paper on the ground. But again, I saw people being like, we have to review the handwriting. Somebody look at Lamar's signatures. How does he write his E? It looks kind of the same. And like they were serious, and it's like, no, what is going on? And then
I don't
like
know that they were serious.
you had people being like,
I'll stand up for a couple of people that were doing that. They were
funny, but there was one that I saw that was like, I don't know, Lamar's E looks similar, and like they had pictures of his autograph and shit like that. But then there was one guy, I don't know who it was, but they were like, none of the paper. It was windy that night. It was cold. None of the papers were turned over. Like, wouldn't they have been flipped up? Wouldn't the wind have taken them somewhere? And like, there was some real like CSI Owings Mills shit like going on, and people were trying to break it all down. Again, it's just an insane, incredible thing that an NFL football coach had to like answer a question about, being like, yeah, I don't know, And then what did people were getting mad that Harbaugh called the fans, what is it, the people at the end of the bar or something?
End of the bar chats belong at the end of the bar or something like that. He's right. I mean, it's a stupid thing for him to say. He said a handful of dumb things in that press conference. There's a little bit of a read the room element for John Harbaugh there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I kind of said before, I'm all for him trying to keep the calm and portray a positive message and say that we're working on things and trying to get better. Because at the end of the day, it's like what you got to do. Like that's what they're doing. So, but there is an element where it's like, hey, you're just kind of stoking the flames of the fan base that is at an all-time fever right now.
The one quote that he had where I think someone asked him about running the ball, and he was like, well, running the ball takes time off the clock. And they were like, yeah, but
it wasn't
so do completing 4-yard passes. Like, what are you trying to? Some of the quotes were just like, come on, man. Like, cause he seems like a guy who he always has to be the smartest guy in the room. And like, his answers always have to like knock your socks off. And it's again, like, sometimes it's okay to be like, hey, you know what? Probably should have run JK a little more. Like that's, watching the game tape back. Yeah, we should have done that. Gus should have had a couple more carries, something like that, where it's like, you don't have to, I don't know. It was kind of bizarre the way that he handled it. But again, that seems like how he's always been. So, and again, that did not help feed into the angry mob on Twitter. So.
What's your guys' favorite angry mob thing you've seen? Seems like you like the analyzing of the handwriting.
I liked, because again, someone tweeted out from the account, like, give us your top 5 people who you think did it. A lot of Jake Lukes on there. A lot of Jake Lukes. And it was funny because someone was like, this looks like it was at the castle. And Jake tweeted something. And we love Jake. I love Jake so much. But someone tweeted something. Jake tweeted something. It was like, well, actually, like, to get to the castle, like, you could realistically like hang out in the woods for a little bit and then like make this big wide turn up and around the corner. And someone was like, you seem to know a lot about this. And he was just like, yeah, I don't know. I probably shouldn't have gone into detail like that. But yeah, I'll just say a lot of Jake Lukes on those top 5 lists. That was my favorite thing, seeing all the. Someone said like, oh, I think it was Wink Martindale. I'm like, Wink gives a shit. Like, what does Wink care? So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think he does either.
Just
The
wanted-
the
Got away
Mark
with pass,
Trestman
got away
video he
with
made
pass
was
interference to win a giant game on Sunday, Mr.
Mark,
Wink.
the Mark Trestman, and then someone called him
Mark
Mark
Trestman video
Trusman,
was
which was also good.
yeah.
Taylor, did you see this?
Jake,
I did not.
that was a good video. It hurts me to say that. It made me laugh.
He
And
made
just even the concept of it.
sometimes you got to go backwards to go forwards, and it was just like Mark Trestman in Ravens, like in Ravens gear.
Mark
And it was a video of
Trestman for OC.
that.
Do you guys know Mark Trestman's last coaching job?
CFL or XFL?
Tampa Bay Vipers of the XFL,
Yeah.
Yep.
who are there's now a team called the Vegas Vipers. That is the new Vipers in the XFL. The San Antonio Brahmas. What a league. Thank you to The Rock. Yeah, I mean, this has been a wacky week. We touched on it. You have the Duvernay injury, which is a huge blow as one of the only guys that you felt like could do some things from the receiver position, and made a difference in the return game, and obviously has carved out a role. So the hits kind of keep on coming. Sammy Watkins is back. Sammy Watkins is officially a guy that is bouncing around like 800 teams a year. He knows the offense, so that's a nice plug and play. He's going to be able to come in and immediately do it, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like that's an option that does a ton for you, but he's a live body who's playing receiver in the NFL. So there you have it. The Ravens move towards this game with Atlanta on Saturday, as the NFL plays pretty much all of its games on Saturday before 3 games on Christmas. On Sunday, the Falcons are not good. They can still win their division, which is stunning. All the 4 teams in the NFC South can win the division. The 6-win Bucks currently lead the division by 1 game. Desmond Ritter of Cincinnati fame is now the quarterback of their team, and they're painful to watch week after week. So this could be an all-time bad game if the Ravens play like they've been playing.
If it's Tyler Huntley under center, then it's another game like the Pittsburgh one where I'm like, what's the over under? I don't care. It's too high. It's too damn high.
The only offense on threat of offense on Cincinnati is Patterson. Or not Cincinnati, Jesus. On Atlanta is Patterson.
Is he even that dude anymore though? Is he still him?
He's been all right. He was good earlier this year. I had him in fantasy, and then he got hurt. And going back real quick, I thought this was funny. I saw about the NFC South and the Bucks. Someone said they're either going to get a playoff game and a home playoff game and a division title, or they're going to get a top 10 pick, which is insane to think about. Like they're not too bad options, but yeah, I mean, like Atlanta, I don't think I can name one person on Atlanta's defense. Do they still have Trufant at corner? I have no idea. I don't think I can name a single person. You want to play that
Philip
game?
Buchanan? Is he still
Vic Beasley still there?
No, because he went to the Titans and then he was bad.
Hate to see that.
Do you want to play this game?
They just drafted the Clemson corner. Oh my gosh, a couple of years ago, AJ Terrell.
All right,
I believe he's on the team.
Let's play this game.
That's my guess. That's my one. I can't. Yeah, I've got
AJ
nobody.
Terrell is
I'm opening their roster.
Yes.
I'm opening their roster now as well. Okay, I got AJ. Okay, I'll take my one.
Yes. That's right. Rashaan Evans from
When did Jared Bernhardt go on IR? I wasn't tracking that story.
No, I must have missed that too. Damn.
Yeah.
Arthur Smith is a hater. Drake London is a guy. He certainly is a player. That's about it. Yeah, this defense is full of just absolutely nobodies. Rashad Fenton, I recognize that name. Again, Rashaan Evans.
Think of
Grady Jarrett.
Atlanta drafting anybody in the first round who not a wide receiver, let alone a defensive player.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nobody. I mean, this may be the most boring game of the year. Keith Smith at fullback, Jake Matthews at left tackle.
Yeah. Early in the year when they would pop on red zone, I do think maybe, and I could be wrong. This is gonna, maybe I'll come out across as just a totally uneducated NFL fan. Drake London showed some flashes of things where I was like, okay, that's a guy that can play. They just don't have anybody at quarterback that can throw him the ball. So,
well, they also had Kyle Pitts, so
tough.
you were like,
I love that they have Felipe
one.
Franks. Felipe Franks, what a group of quarterbacks. Felipe Franks, Desmond Ridder, and Logan Woodside. Unbelievable. Toledo, Logan Woodside.
Felipe Franks is like a more accomplished version of Christian Hackenberg, where it's like, how do you keep failing up? Like the line should have ended for Felipe Franks before he ever got in an NFL uniform.
I totally forgot that he played here at Arkansas. He felt like he was at Florida for like 100 years.
I thought they went from Rex Grossman to Felipe Franks. Like I thought that's how long that he had been there. Like he was upset when Spurrier left because he had probably recruited him. Yeah, it's a big no name team. And again, you got to think Arthur Smith is not there that long. I don't think after this. I think his time is running out there. Good OC. I don't think he's a head coach.
They don't have a team, like they don't have personnel. Like, what is he supposed to do? That would be my only question. Like, they have not given him the ability to like have who's his quarterback? Like, you're gonna like let this guy go who you brought in to be like an offensive guy. I mean, like you look at we talk about the Ravens skill position players. Like, I mean, they've got Cordero Patterson as like he's made a nice second career as a running back. They have Tyler Algier as a fifth round pick. Then pick Drake London in the first round, and they had some injuries. That Pitts is out and was horrible before he was out. Was having a bad year. They like threw Mariota. I mean, unless they're trying to be bad so they can fire him because they don't think he's the guy. I don't feel like they've really given him
much to work with.
They haven't given him the tools. I mean,
but again, they weren't good. They weren't really good with Ryan last year.
Yeah, but he's on the backside of the career. I mean, he doesn't look that good.
He scored 33 points in the first half this week.
He got benched for like Sam Ellinger 3 weeks ago. Got a coach fired.
Yeah, and then he's back. Well, it's because that coach stinks too.
Tough on Reich. Somebody made this point the other day. Like, if Reich just doesn't bench Matt Ryan, he probably keeps his job.
Yeah,
just made a bad decision. Yeah, they probably win.
Just a dumb decision.
Win a couple more games, but so Arthur Smith 7-10 last year. They're 5-7 this year with a bad roster. I think he keeps his job.
Well, yeah. I mean, but again,
they can't think Ritter's the guy, but they have to go get a quarterback. I mean, there's just no way they think Ritter's the guy. I mean, this is the test run for Ridder. You would hope if you're Arthur Smith, you hope that the conversation has been like, hey, run Ridder out there. Let's see what we got. If not, we'll go get a quarter. We'll lose a bunch of games and we'll draft CJ Stroud.
They'll trade for like Derek Carr or something like that.
Or do something like that. Yeah. They can trade for Lamar Jackson.
Carson Wentz is going to look fire in a Falcons uniform next year.
Oh, my God. That's a disaster. That's a disaster waiting to happen. Yeah, Derek Carr, line him up. Or they'll go get like Bryce Young or
someone like that. Hell, they can have
quarterbacks. The Kentucky kid's name is escaping me. They can get him.
Will Levis.
Levis. Will Levis. Yeah. So yeah, like we said, we're done saying the word "get right" game, but the Ravens are favorites. This is a game they should. This is a game the defense could give up 6 points, 9 points, like a couple field goals, 1 touchdown. It feels like they're going to feast on Ridder a little bit. There's not a ton to scary on the outside, so no matter what the Ravens' defensive backfield depth is, there isn't a ton there. And then can Tyler Huntley do enough if he's on the field?
I'm yawning just thinking about it.
Let's get to predictions. Banks.
Ravens.
Banks looked up at the ceiling and was just like, oh my God, this is miserable. What a miserable game to preview.
Christmas
this is where we
Eve,
are.
baby.
This is where we are. Yeah, Christmas Eve. Yeah, I'll be interested. Me and Artie, we'll do this before we get to predictions. What do you think will be the actual attendance at M&T Bank Stadium on Saturday for this game? 1:00. It's going to be freezing. It's on Christmas Eve. There is zero intrigue for this game. Zero. Like, the opponent doesn't, you're not like, oh, I want to go see this person on the opponent if you're more of a casual fan. And if you're a hardcore fan, it's just a miserable team to watch. I'm interested to see what the crowd looks like in the stadium. Because, if it's a great game, you would like, if this was, a Ravens team that was rolling, I think there'd be like, oh, it's Christmas Eve. We'll go to the game. Like, this
Take
will
the
make a day out
kids.
of it.
Yeah, we'll take the kids to the game.
I don't know if that's what people are going to want to do in like
No.
15-degree weather.
No.
This feels like
plan that out in advance, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, 70,000 obviously is where the Ravens. I think this is like an actual like. I think there's 5 to 8,000 empty seats. I think there's like 62,000 people in the stadium.
You went that high. I was thinking like 40, 45. I think the weather is really
55 was my
yeah.
I'm giving the Ravens the benefit of the doubt.
It's funny too, because like someone I forget which one of the Barstool shows it was, but they were talking about like which is a better viewing experience, watching a football game at home or at the stadium. And I tweeted like, oh, it's at home 100% of the time. Like, you're crazy if you think watching a game in the stadium is better. And someone, it was like a Ravens fan, it was some like troll account. And it was like, oh, like, you're a Titans fan. Of course you would say that. And I was like, buddy, like, I don't know if you've seen some of the crowds the last couple of weeks at the Ravens games, but I think they kind of agree with me. Like, there ain't nobody there anymore. Like, they're not loud. It's not a lot of stuff going on. So, like, I don't know if Ravens fans are really enjoying the experience that much at the bank anymore. So
the high is 25 degrees. Real feel of 12 degrees.
That's miserable.
Average wind of 15 miles an hour with wind gusts up to 32 miles an hour.
Yep.
Miserable.
This is going to be an Army-Navy game.
This is Dobbins.
Let me tell you what, if Greg Roman throws the ball 30 times in this game, he may not make it out of town. He may get himself fired if the Ravens throw 30 times in this game. Yeah, this is going to be a bad game. What's the over-under for this? You have that in front of you?
I don't.
So here, real quick. This is
I can't imagine it's high.
Probably not. Field Yates, the current estimates for feels like temperature at kickoff of some of the games on Saturday. Bills at Bears -11, Seahawks at Chiefs -6, Saints at Browns -9, Texans at Titans 5, Falcons at Ravens 7, Raiders at Steelers -4. Like, just don't go to these games.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, I mean,
over under of 30.
Better fans than me are under. Better fans than me are going to those games. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Awful.
Unless you're in a suite, which I had the pleasure of doing. And that's, can I be honest, being in a suite at a football game is the best way to watch a football game.
Yeah, you still got to drive really back and traffic and all that.
Nah, but you just sit in the suite.
No, you're not rushed out. You sit in the suite and you watch Red Zone.
No, you sit in the suite and you watch Red Zone.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's the best.
Well, last time I was in a suite, it was the Cubs box, and we got rushed out of there. Remember that? We're trying to watch Caps Bruins in the playoffs.
Well, you talk to your friends at the Orioles.
Talk to the fucking governor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not my governor anymore. Well,
maybe once the Orioles are like back to being good, they'll let people chill in the suite for a while. That's also at night.
Nah, they're still charging the players' wives an arm and a leg to hang out in the suites. So yeah, that's a story.
Gotta love it. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that one. Pitchers and catchers report. Banks, your prediction.
Ravens 16, Falcons 6. I'm starting to doubt that now. I put a lot of field goals when I thought about it 5 minutes ago, and now this might be 13-3 now.
This may be a game my go-to bet on the Barstool Sportsbook. Since it's been legal has been some parlay with the Ravens over 1.5 field goals, and it's been fucking money every time, except for last week when Justin Tucker lined up for it, and I texted my buddies and I said, "Looks like I've got my over 1.5 field goals." And
God,
yeah, it was bad. No. It was bad.
Yeah, that's horrible.
I mean, because that's the easiest bet. It's fucking money every time. I'm gonna say 17-9 Ravens. Again, I think it's just low scoring, like blah. Maybe we get a touchdown and a safety, not some field goals by the Falcons. I don't know. I could see that.
Sounds like only one field goal.
13-0 Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, I think
full shutout pitch.
Who didn't you say there was gonna be a shutout a couple weeks ago too? You said
I think we said we were feeling a shutout.
Who was that against?
What game was that? Hold on.
It was who was that against? I'm trying to think back.
I think it was the Panthers.
Yes, it was. Yep.
They gave up 3 points. So
Close.
Yep.
We're getting it. Shutout this week.
It's
it's
on
on
shutouts ever been in the NFL this year. Don't wait for me. Keep going.
No, I'm looking to find the announcers, which I just never get in front of me. I don't know if they are out.
Taylor, I screenshotted this morning because I knew you would like it, and I didn't screenshot it. I thought I did. Let me find this. The Titans have had Andrew Catalon like 6 of the last 8 weeks. So all the Titans.
You know how I know that? Because every Chigo Conquo highlight is Catalan. Oh, Conquo! Mm-hmm. It's him. It's he says it the same way every single time. And I'm like, Catalan again for the Titans?
There's
Conquo with some burst.
There's a Titans account that I follow, and they've just been tweeting at him nonstop, being like, did you buy your house in Nashville yet? Are you gonna, how long till you're here in Nashville? Let me see. It's been, I saw it this morning. So here it is. Weeks 1 through 4, Kugler, Levy, Albert, Amin, Andrew Catalan, Catalan, Gumbel, Tarico, Catalan, Michaels, Ian Eagle, Burkhart, Catalan, Michaels. And then that's leading up to week 18, which we don't know yet. 3 weeks in a row.
Are they in CB? What are they on this week?
They're playing Houston. It says Andrew Catalan again, so CBS.
They've Catalan again this week?
They had him versus Jacksonville last week.
Catalan.
Jacksonville last week, this week versus the Chargers, and then next week versus Houston.
Wow.
Someone said he's the TV voice of the Titans now. It's crazy.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
When I saw that popping up, I was like, I got to tell Taylor about this. He's going to love this.
That is sensational.
There have been 4 shutouts in the NFL this year.
Oh, that seems.
Do you have them in front of you?
The Jags shut out the Colts in week 2. I'm just clicking week by week. The Patriots shut out the Lions 29-0.
That's wild to think about too.
The Saints shut somebody out at one point. The Saints shut out the Raiders 24-0. And the 49ers shut out the Saints 13-0.
There you have it. Good research.
Brock Purdy, kind of fun.
He's fun.
Purdy rocking.
He's very, very, very competent. Very competent.
I think it's going to come crashing down to earth sometime soon, which I think is pretty realistic. But again, it is a fun ride that Niners Nation is on.
Yeah, they're a fun team. Baltimore Orioles, a couple odds and ends to get through here. Adam Frazer signed, I think a day after we recorded last week, maybe.
Yeah,
because this feels like it happened a while ago, but that's what happens when things happen right after we record. 1 year, $8 million. Solid career / line, as I just read it off the article here. 273, 336, 392. Was an all-star. The Orioles have now signed, I think, 2 former all-stars in the offseason. That's funny as that sounds.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good. Wasn't very good with Seattle last year in terms of playing up to his career battle 238. Some defensive flexibility. He's sort of like Odor. You would say
less
play
vibes,
a couple positions,
less vibes,
less vibes and weirdness. But in terms of veteran guy that can do a couple things, he fits that area. A different skill set, but he fits that. Sort of some positional flexibility.
Play corner outfield. Said that Elias, I think, told him that he's going to get a majority of his starts at second. He's going to play every day. And again, like you said, he can play the corner outfield spot. So I'm fine with it. Again, it's not like this is the move we've been waiting on. That I think is now coming with Carlos Correa's physical gone bad in San Francisco. So Uncle Mike probably going to scoop in at a discounted rate and get him there. But then the
Big
rumors,
stuff. It's a good job by Mike.
Uncle Mike, he did it again. The rumors, though, that I think Rosenthal wrote in his here's what I'm hearing article last night was that the Orioles could potentially be shopping Jorge Mateo, which again seems like, I think if you can do it and you can get a major league guy back for him, I think you do that. Probably a pitcher or something like that, because again, you've got dogs down in the minors with Jordan Westburg and Ortiz and obviously Gunnar. I mean, if we can get a season of Gunnar at shortstop, that's going to be sexual. It's going to be awesome. And then it's going to be sexual. There's no other way to
you
put
said
it.
that was some. You looked right in the camera and just he said that was some intent.
I mean, I meant every word of it. And then I know that last week sometime that there were the tweets going around that the Orioles were interested in Mychal Wacha and had to talk to Rich Hill. The Rich Hill idea I am very out on. I do not want a 44-year-old, big slinging curveballs up there. But I think Wacha could be fun. If the Orioles pitching lab can get him right, I think that would be fun. And then we forgot too the signing they made last night. They brought back.
Well, that's what I was going to get to. Yep.
The old friend Mychal Givens. So.
Yep.
Elias had him here in 2019 and I think 2020 before he got traded for Nevin and Taron Vavra. But he's back. People were getting on me because I tweeted, "But why?" yesterday when I saw that, and again, that was just my gut reaction. I'm fine with it. Again, I think a veteran in the pen is going to be good. I think he was good before he got traded to the Mets. Kind of went downhill after. But sure, why not? You can't have enough bullpen depth, and we'll see how he does. Obviously, the bullpen was a big strength last year, and I think some of the young guys are bound to regress. So, maybe you throw him in there. Maybe he's an 8th inning guy before Bautista. Maybe he's a 9th inning. Maybe they put him at closer or something like that. If Bautista is fatigued or something like that. So yeah, we'll see. It was an interesting signing. I don't think anybody had it on their radar. Nobody had that on their radar. So we'll
1 year, $5 million. They have an option for another year. Last 7-3 with 3.38 ERA, 1.32 WHIP. As you said, a lot of we know. I think if you're an Orioles fan, you know what Mychal Givens brings. He's solid, a lot of durability, setup man. Knows how to pitch in the place, knows the terrain, veteran presence for the bullpen.
The wall will
veteran
help.
presence for the whole clubhouse. Wall helps him, I guess. And this will help his Orioles Hall of Fame candidacy.
Well,
so
also
he's
people were hopping on the quote. Mike Elias, when he was traded, said Mychal Givens will always be an Oriole. And it's well, I don't think anyone if he said that about JJ Hardy.
Now he will.
And it's people were oh no, now he really meant it. But it's yeah, I mean, I would have never thought of Mychal Givens as that guy he was an Oriole. It's yeah, sure, he was fine. So that was fun, and and now my guess is things are going to kind of shut down for the next couple of days with the Christmas holiday. But yeah, Adam Frazer, let's do it. 2 All-Stars in one off season. Good signing.
The stuff went around. It sounds like the Orioles kicked the tires on Trey Mancini and Jordan Lyles. I mean, we love Trey. Didn't make a ton of sense to bring him back. There's just not really a spot there. I'm interested to see where he ends up. I know I think the Cubs was thrown around today.
Cubs with a rumor that
and then Lyles is a guy that at the beginning of the offseason we said hey, bring him back at whatever rate. He did a nice job, but for whatever reason they're not bringing him back.
I will say there's a pitcher that's still out there that I would love for them to grab, and I don't know how cheap he's going to be, but Zach Greinke at the end of his career, I would love that.
Oh yeah,
I think that would be a great pickup. I don't know what the money is, what his situation is, what he wants to do, but I would love a Zach Greinke to the Orioles move. Not that he's not a number 1, he's not a 2, he's probably a 5. But again, I think that would be I would be in favor of that. And that could be
39-year-old Zach Greinke from the Royals review yesterday. Are we sure it's a good idea for the Royals to bring Zach Greinke back? What an article title.
Well, my big thing is, so he's always said he wants to retire. He has 10 career home runs and he has 9 career stolen bases. Let him come to Baltimore, put him on base. All he wants to do is get 10 and 10. That's all he wants to do. I would love for him to get 10 and 10 here. Put him on base.
4-9 with a 3.68 ERA last
That could
year.
work. That could work with the wall.
In Kansas City. With the wall, you would think he's probably going to win the Cy Young. So I would sign him. I think you sign him.
I'm telling you, let's start the movement now. Let's do it.
$13 million last year from Kansas City was his going rate. You would think you'd be able to get him for cheaper. You guys want to guess how much Zach Greinke's made in his major league career?
Ooh, $264 million.
Okay.
Go 190.
$330 million.
Yeah.
It's nice to be a pitcher in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
If you can do it well. Spent 6 years where he was making $34+ million a year, including 2 years ago with Houston. Amazing.
Did
bring him in.
Did he start Game 7 of that 2019 World Series?
I can't say I remember.
I thought Banks.
That's up your alley.
I
I trust. Yeah, you would think Banks would know based on his fandom, but yeah, Stroh's Banks. Going to Baseball Reference right now.
I'm going to look at his year-by-year salary. I mean, Jesus Christ.
It's wild. Starting at 27, 13.5, 13.5, 19, 26, 25, 34, 34, 34, 34, 34 and a half, 35, 35, 13.
He had only gotten up to he only accumulated like 13 million through his age 26 season.
Yeah.
So all of that is in the last 11 years.
It's an amazing gig.
Yeah.
Not a bad job if you can get it.
No.
It's crazy how much they underpay young baseball players, though.
Yeah, you have to get to this. You have to get through to the second contract so bad. That's the interesting part about the trend of like Brandon Lau signed the play for 1 year and then signed the moderate extension because you just don't know. I would love to know the discussions that agents have with players when that type of stuff is in play because teams want to do that.
Well, that was one of Trey had said after Trey got diagnosed with cancer, they did a piece on him in The Athletic, and one of the big pieces was how Trey one night, him and Sarah were sitting in the apartment over COVID, and obviously he had already been diagnosed with cancer, and he threw his remote or threw his phone across the room, and she was like, "Why are you what's wrong?" And he was like, "I can't believe I turned down." The Orioles had offered him a 4-year, $26 million extension or something, after going into that year, I think. And he had turned it down because, again, he was like, "No, I'm going to be able to make more." And I think he was just furious that he had, turned that down. So, yeah, it's one of those, do you sign? It's what the Braves do. The Braves sign all their young guys to a 5-year, $14 million deal, and they turn out to be all-stars. So yeah, it's definitely
but it's funny you say that with the money with Trey. Lau signed on March 20th, 2019, essentially after he had a pretty good debut in 2018, he signed a 6-year contract with 2 options for $24 million guaranteed. Essentially giving away his chance to sign at his age, 28 season, a really big contract, but maybe betting on himself that he could get something at 30. Well, but also locking in life-changing money.
Yeah, 100%. And again, especially for a guy like Lau, where that's, that money will.
Where you're a college player, so your clock is already a little whatever. It's kind of interesting.
Plus, you're on the Rays, and they're probably going to trade you for to a good team in a year, anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, so that I've always thought the base, as you said, Banks, they're Zach Greinke was making $750,000 as a 25-year-old player in Major League Baseball, and then he made $34 million 10 years later.
Also, one more thing that got the Orioles fans riled up this week was the expected news that Manny Machado is going to opt out after next year.
You were driving that bus.
Yeah, that's all for content. There's no way he's coming back, but you can imagine what it would be like if he did. I had legit people DMing me being like, "Hey, do you think he's actually going to come back?" It's no, he's not going to come back. Someone's going to pay him $400 million. It's not going to be the Orioles. but
Yeah.
it would be sick.
He ain't coming back. Let's get to our starting five draft presented by Fed Thrill. You can get, holiday season is now very much around the corner. You can get 25% off, or 20. God, I can't even talk anymore. You get percent off of Fed Thrill sunglasses if you use the promo code X52. I'm losing my mind. So make sure to get them. Make sure to get them. Probably too late maybe to get them for Christmas, but never a bad time to give a gift. So go buy some Fed Thrill sunglasses for yourself or for someone you love. It's the holiday season, gentlemen, and we were discussing draft ideas. We talked about doing holiday movies. We did it. We talked about doing Christmas gifts. We did it. And we talked about doing Christmas songs. We did it all in a 3-week span last year. So we really killed all of our Christmas holiday drafts. But with that said, we're going to do a sort of a mashup of all of those and do a holiday, best of. So one movie, one song, one tradition, one gift, and then a wild card. If you guys are fine with that, that's called coming up with a draft on the fly. One of the great staples of Exit. Or we could draft what is Banks going to listen to on his 12-hour drive tomorrow. We could do that as well.
Ooh.
Lil B will be in the car.
Lil B will be in the car.
Oh boy, that could extend the drive.
Yes, it will.
Hmm.
That's a fact.
All right. I have the first pick. Banks, you have the second pick, and RDT, after taking Tom Brady last week with the first pick, you have the third pick. This is the when you do the bunch of different types of things drafts. I always feel like those are some of the hardest to get number one, because you're just like, I don't know where you guys are deep and where you're not. Although we pretty much decided to do this draft on the fly, so no one probably has any type of board. So I'm gonna go with Christmas gifts, and I'm gonna go with Nintendo 64. I'm gonna take Nintendo 64. That's the my favorite gift I've ever gotten, and I'm just gonna get it right now. I think that might have been the number one pick in the gifts draft.
Yeah, that seems about right.
So I'm gonna get that. That's a foolproof one. It's I would take it right now. I would take the Nintendo 64 as a gift right now, and be thrilled to get it. Thrilled to have it.
I'm surprised they haven't done one of those preloaded ones like they did for Super Nintendo and NES.
That was
I bought the Super Nintendo one.
Yeah,
that was the biggest gift of the year a couple of years ago. You couldn't get one. It was hard to get it. Yeah,
I went out of my way and paid extra to get my Super Nintendo because that's the one system I never had. My dad had an NES, so I grew up with an NES in the house, and then I got the N64, which all-time gift. But I never had Super Nintendo. So when I became an adult and had some adult money, I'm like, I'm just gonna go get this. I never had it. And I spent like a week playing it, and I haven't touched it since.
Yeah, now it's collecting dust.
I beat Super Mario World. Like I'd never done that because I never had the game myself to just be able to be left alone and do it. And so I did it. It was awesome. I think it's the best Mario game, by the way, in terms
Super
of
Mario World.
Like in terms of single player adventure, like
including all of the including just side scrollers or all of the Super Mario, even
the platform main game type,
where you're jumping. That's a side scroller, yeah. But you would include Super Mario 64 in that, and N64 you would include
yes. Super Mario World, Super Mario Bros, Super Mario Bros 2, which is actually not even a Super Mario game. They just adopted some other game and threw some characters in.
Would you include Mario? Would you include Super Mario Sunshine is included there? Super Mario Galaxy.
Yes, I would include those as
Super Mario 64 inferior. Was an amazing game.
It was. I'm starting to rethink that what I just said. But Super Mario World is an excellent game.
Banks, you have the second pick.
They've got like linebackers in that game too. It's awesome.
Paper Mario is also amazing in terms of the Mario lineage of games.
I didn't really dive deep into that. GameCube was just not it for me.
Yeah, Paper Mario is very, very good. We also have the Super Mario Bros. Movie, by the way, coming out. I don't know what you guys. If you guys
yeah.
I think it'll be enjoyable. The Chris Pratt Mario accent is the thing that gets all of
the entire. It's probably brutal for them to have done that because now it's all like people just can't stop talking about like
and
the Chris Pratt decision.
And that's not going to take away from like kids going and seeing it because they're not a part of any of that conjecture, like kids and parents. But now you have all these weirdos on Twitter like us that are like, oh, now I kind of want to go see it for like so you just get those people in. They can't have thought of it that way, but if they did, that's next level marketing. Because there's a lot of good voices in it too, like Charlie Day's in it as Luigi, and I like Seth Rogen as Bowser. So
I've only seen the like
Taylor
Barstool like clips of that being like, oh
yeah. I love that video.
It's so good.
Banks, you have the second pick.
I'm gonna take Mariah. I gotta do it first round. I'll take the song. All I Want for Christmas Is You. It's timeless. Hits every year. I know it's overplayed. I don't care. That's a song I'm taking, and I'm not thinking twice about it.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, you
should be taken at the top of the draft, and it was. It was in consideration for the first pick. RDT.
All right, my first pick. I'm going with my. You said it was. We have like a grab bag kind of.
Song, tradition, gift, movie, wild card. So wild card can be anything associated with the holidays.
The Festivus poll. Sorry, Banks.
Interesting.
The aluminum poll.
Go this early.
I wanted it, and I traded up to get it. I'm getting it with the last pick in the first round, so I still get the 5th-year option. So, some would call it the Lamar of this draft. Again, you get it out from underneath the crawl space. You hang the tinsel, and
now I'm thinking about it. We should have done Christmas specials.
Feats of strength.
We'll do that next year.
I crossed my mind at some point. I just don't know if there's enough of them.
Yeah,
I go into cartoons,
enough of them where it's like, yeah,
it's fine.
So, all right,
you got another.
I'm taking my I'll take the song, and I'll go "Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays" by NSYNC. Fantastic song. Fantastic.
It's a great song.
It's so good.
It's a great song. Well, I know Taylor's taking a song in the 5th, and it's going to be a great 5th round pick.
I think I know which song he's taking.
This is gonna be so obvious what song I'm gonna take for that song.
Yeah, again, great song. I don't know. It's just,
great song.
It's just a bang. You're nodding your head, you're bopping along. Young JT, young Lance Bass. Just
JC Chazé.
Absolute hit makers. Who isn't he from Maryland? Wasn't he like born in Annapolis or something? I don't know. We'll look that up at another time.
JC Chazé, I think so, yeah.
Something like that. He has some connection to Maryland.
Thanks.
Taking Bad Santa. It's my favorite Christmas movie. It's so good. And I love Christmas movies, but it's just number one for me. And it is well appreciated, but I still don't think it's appreciated enough.
I've never seen it.
I've also never seen it.
It's not
I took it in the movie draft whenever we did it.
Probably. We probably had this exact
I'm sure we had the same discussion.
Yeah,
people can go back and listen to our episode a year ago.
Anytime I see it, it's always on TV. And I don't like watching movies for the first time on TV because I don't know what I'm missing. I don't know what's edited out. And like, I just
commercials. And
and I'm like, I'm going to lose this. Yeah.
It's so good.
I've heard it's funny. I've heard it's great. Again, it's nothing against the movie or Billy Bob Thornton or anything. I've never seen it.
Fix that.
Yeah. I mean, I'll see it at some point. By the way, I'm looking back at our drafts. I copied the draft. I took the Polar Express in the movie draft.
Oh my God. It's a horrible pick.
Yeah,
it's abominable.
That is really bad. Although I'm not that upset about it because like the picks, these are the last 4 picks of the draft. I guess these are giving it away, but I don't think any of these are going to be taken. I took the Polar Express and then the Animaniacs Christmas movie, Wacko's Wish.
Classic, of course.
Banks took A Very Sunny Christmas, and then RDT took Nightmare Before Christmas. That's a fascinating Final Four.
A Very Sunny Christmas is, I would take that number one on my board on the specials.
I was gonna say that's
and with that
should go.
It's like the best Sunny episode, and it just happens to be their Christmas special.
Yeah, it's great.
With that said, I'm taking Elf. I love Elf. I think Elf is the Christmas movie that if it's on, I put on and watch.
That's more your speed than Bad Santa, I would say.
Yeah, I'm an aspirational guy.
Yeah, Bad Santa is. It's Bad Santa. It's
Bad Santa. I don't want a bad Santa. I want a good Santa. I had a good elf, and Zooey Deschanel crooning. That's what I want. That's what I want in my movie. Little Peter Dinklage getting mad. It's a good movie. And then I have another.
Heather Graham, not so bad. Bad Santa, like a young.
No, I like Heather Graham.
Heather Graham.
Yeah,
Heather Graham,
like
great
Heather Graham.
in
Austin Powers.
Austin Powers, great.
Wait.
Great in The Hangover.
Wait. I might. Nope. I got the wrong name.
Oh no, I like Heather Graham. Heather Graham's good.
Lauren Graham. Now, is that right?
Lauren Graham is from. No, she's from Gilmore Girls. It's the mom in Gilmore Girls.
No,
it's Lauren.
Correct.
Graham.
It's Lauren Graham.
Yeah.
Young 2003 Lauren Graham.
Wow, interesting. That's a totally different.
Yeah, totally different. Heather Graham. I get the excitement behind that as well.
Yeah,
there's a lot to be excited.
I like both of them, but yeah,
like
both of them. And then, oh man, I'm gonna go. So I've got in the bag. I've got tradition, wild card, and song. I'm gonna be a little sappy here. I'm gonna take tradition. I'm gonna put putting the ornaments on the tree. That was always a big thing in the Smythe house. My mom has 60,000 ornaments, including some, honestly, and this is mom for some points here, some beautiful ornaments, some absolutely beautiful Christmas ornaments. And our tree year after year I would put it up against any tree in the state. Wow. I'll say we put up a fuck of a tree. And so I'm going to take putting those
fuck of a tree. Is that what you said? A fuck of a tree?
Yeah. Hell of a tree. We've got a hell of a tree. And so I'm going to put that up, putting the ornaments on that tree. Shout out to my mom. Does an unbelievable job every single year. My dad.
Real or fake?
Those ornaments up, but
Real
I can't. We've gone between both. I actually don't know this year what we have. I'll be interested to see when I get there. I haven't asked. I should have. I was on my phone, my mom, for like 40 minutes today. I am just, bang, bang. There you go, mom. You're the best. You're the best. And I didn't ask, so I'll just see when I venture over there Thursday night or Friday. So I'm going putting ornaments on the tree. Banks, you have everything but song and movie. Song and movie. Yeah, on the board.
Tradition, wild card, and what?
Tradition, wild card, and gift.
I'm just gonna. We talk about it every single year. I'm just taking the end of Mass on Christmas Eve. I'm just taking it.
Yeah, we do talk about this.
We talk about it all the time. It's just the best. You hear "Joy to the World" on the way out, and it's over, and you've filled your obligation for the night, for the day, for the holiday, and then you're just off to the races. You're going to eat hors d'oeuvres. You're going to, booze it up a little bit, and you're just off the clock. It's go time.
Joy to the World at the end of Christmas Mass, and you're right, we have talked about this every year, is one of the great moments of the year. We are actually going to Mass on Christmas Day this year, but that feeling does not go away. That song slaps, first of all, and it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah. Christmas Eve, though, you're going to have
Christmas Eve is the time. Like a Christmas Eve. When do you go to Mass on Christmas Eve?
Like 4 p.m.
Yep. It's If you're going between like
5:30 and you're on your way.
four, like if you're starting mass between like 4 and 6, that is the vibe when you hear Joy of the World. You know it's gonna be crisp outside. It's dark. You go out there and you're right. You're ready to get back home, hang out with whatever family you're with. Money, mwah, tremendous. Hardy T.
It doesn't really matter, I think, what order I'm taking these in. For gift, I'm going straight cash, homie. Like there gets to be that point where you're like in high school or something like that, and you're just like, I don't really need anything. I don't want anything. Like everything I want, I kind of have. And like you open up a card with just like $100, $200, and you're like, oh, nice. Especially like if it's from like a grandparent or something like that. You're like, oh, this is the best. This is just perfect. So again, you don't need anything. Like if you wanted a system, a video game system, like you got it. You know, you wanted a sports jersey, you probably have it. But I'm just giving away picks. Yeah, I don't know.
That's the only one with a gift pick. So
getting that cold hard cash was always nice. So
it's just never cold hard cash for me has always been more of a birthday thing than a Christmas thing or a holiday thing. But I see where you're coming from.
Movie. I'm gonna go with Santa Claus. Great movie. Fantastic. Oh fuck! I
have not seen that in a long time.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you haven't seen it. Fun movie. Still holds up. Very funny. A lot of like lines now where you watch it and you're like, oh, that's right. Like saw some like tweet and it was like this was taken out of the TV one, and it's like Scott Calvin talking to his ex-wife about, and he's like, oh, what's she says something and she's like, what's the phone number? And he's like, oh, I called like 1-800 spank me, and like that was in a child's movie and nobody blinked in the 90s. Like you couldn't do that now. It's just good old classic, Tim Allen comedy. So very funny movie. Bernard the elf sucks. Neil the stepdad sucks. Everything else is great. Fun movie. I haven't seen the others 2, 3, and I think there's a bunch of other ones, but I can't speak on those. But I can speak on the Santa Claus.
It's a bit of a reach.
The second I picked it, I was like, there's 15 movies that I thought were going to be taken.
Jingle All the Way is such a similar movie, and
that's
a better movie.
I had Jingle All. I thought we were doing characters, and I had Sinbad from Jingle All the Way written down. Great
Christmas characters.
That could have been a fun one. See,
We'll save it for next year.
Thurman Merman.
By the way, Mike Florio 4 minutes ago tweeted out annual stats.
Did he have two? Did he go to? Oh, he went with cash.
What did Florio say?
He tweeted out a picture of his barn, like he has that 6 setup, and it's just Bad Santa, and he said annual Bad Santa night in the barn.
Nice.
Thanks, Florio.
Nice. Gift. Or random. I have no inspiration for anything random right now. I know.
That's why I took the Festivus Bowl early.
I know.
I've got my random.
Or wild card is what it is. I'm just taking the sports jersey. Quick, everybody go with first Christmas gift sports jersey. You guys are going to be shocked. This is going to be a big.
What yours was?
Yeah.
Oh, mine was a really, if I remember correctly, was like they didn't sell a Nike one, so it's like the non-brand. It was just a number 3 Juan Dixon jersey, but it didn't have his name on the back, and it was just like garbage. But like that was all you could get. That was mine, I believe, unless there was a Ravens, unless Quadra
like Coliseum.
Yeah, it was like Coliseum. Unless Quadra Ishmael beat that to the punch, which is possible. I don't remember the timing there. Those are the first 2, I believe.
I received a Rams Jerome Bettis jersey.
I think we've talked about this before.
I think we did. I think we did sports jerseys. Yeah, we did something like that.
Yeah. I think it was 5 years old for Christmas in Iowa. We were Notre Dame family. Iowa. Yep.
That Rams Bettis, I mean, that's a jersey too. That's a jersey and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beast of a jersey. It's a solid
What
one.
was yours, RDT?
I think an Eddie George. I think I got the white Eddie George because I'd already had the blue one, I believe. And then I got my first authentic was a Vince Young one, like numbers stitched, last name stitched,
Ooh.
everything.
Ooh,
That worked out well.
screen printed is for clowns.
Well, I remember being in high school and being like, listen, mom, dad, like, I need the authentic one. Like, I need it. And I got it, and it's still hanging up there. I think I wore it like 3 times, maybe. So that was a fun one. I got a bunch of I got a Ben Wallace one. I got an Antoine Jameson. I got a Butler. I think one year I just did all jerseys for Christmas. That was a really fun morning to open up all the gifts.
Okay, so I have my last two. Because I'm just not gonna make it's not gonna be my last pick because it just cannot be. I'm taking Christmas Tree Farm by Taylor Swift as my song. That was gonna be very, very obvious. The other obvious pick, since all the songs are taken, if that song didn't exist, I would have taken Santa Tell Me by Ariana Grande. So let's just wanted to get that. Let's just get all that out of the way.
Tell me something I don't know, Taylor, please.
Yeah. Tell me something I don't know. That's a song by Selena Gomez. Just to complete all of the just to get all of them in there. And then with my next pick, I've waffled honestly during the draft on which cartoon Christmas special I was going to take with my random pick. And I think because I've already talked about the SpongeBob one, I am going to take Christmas Every Day, Fairly Odd Parents, which was sensational.
Never saw it.
Also did not see it.
Tough. I was between 3. Those are my final 2. The third one was a Johnny Bravo Christmas, which was also excellent. Donny Osmond, excellent episode of television.
I think I did. I think I saw that one. I think I do remember seeing that.
Let's all sing while we're talking.
Who played Johnny Bravo? Is that like a famous actor?
That's a great question. I don't think so. It's probably just a voice actor.
Yeah, but again, like that guy was a legend. Johnny Bravo voice. All righty. I'm gonna deep dive into this. Sorry.
Banks, you have your last one. Your random pick, wild card pick.
My random pick. I'm just gonna take betting NBA Christmas unders. It's not really my pick per se. It's a big cat tradition, but it's one of my favorites. There was a year, the first year I ever did it, all 5 hit. I parlayed them. That was a nice little payday for your boy.
That's a solid one.
RDT, you have tradition.
I am gonna take eating the peanut butter cookies with the Hershey's Kisses in the middle. I don't know what they're called, but they're always around.
What are those called?
I have no idea, but they're delicious.
Like I don't remember either.
They're the soft cookie. Like they stay soft for whatever reason. Like they never get stale. And then just the Hershey's Kiss. And like I remember being like 7 years old at my aunt's and just eating all the Hershey's Kisses out of the middle, like, and then just leaving the cookies. They're so good. Like those should be eaten all year round. I need more of those.
When they're made correctly, the cookie portion is the best part.
Well, yeah, but when I was little, I was just eating the Hershey's Kisses, and then I'd go back for the cookie later. But Hershey's
those are very good.
Yeah, they're so good. I love them.
Very, very good.
I have no idea what they're called, but they're just so good.
That's it. That's the draft. I took Nintendo 64. What an ending. And Nintendo 64 Elf. Ornaments on the Tree. Shout out to my mom. Christmas Tree Farm by Taylor Swift and Christmas Every Day, Fairly Odd Parents Christmas special. Banks took All I Want for Christmas Is You. Bad Santa's his movie. End of Mass as a tradition. Sports jersey for the gift and betting NBA Christmas unders. I'm sorry, that is a tradition. Wait, did you take 2 traditions?
I guess I did.
Took it as a random, right?
But you took it as an under. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you took it as a random. Sorry. I RDT took the Festivus poll. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. That is a song I may put on after we're done recording. Straight Homie, Santa Claus, which you seem to regret, and the peanut butter Hershey Kiss cookies, which that makes me a bit hungry. You can go back and listen to our other holiday drafts for a lot of the honorable mentions in these categories. These have been well. Some of the other songs we took in those drafts. Like I said, Santa Claus is coming to town last Christmas, Silent Night, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Joy to the World, Feliz Navidad, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's right. We had that argument last year. Christmas movies, Die Hard, Home Alone 2, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Christmas Vacation, Just Friends.
Oh, great movie.
Was taken by RDT.
Yeah, that's a fantastic movie.
I think we roasted that pick. I had a bad draft there.
Chris Klein, Anna Faris,
PlayStation, Game Boy. Love Anna Faris. I was just rewatching Entourage again. Just went through the Anna Faris part.
That's right.
Yeah, freaking E.
Doesn't he hit a car?
That show?
Something like that. Yeah,
it's a car, and she's not wearing anything. Yeah, she's like wearing a towel.
Yeah, she's in a towel. Yep.
And then he finds her on Star Maps. Hell of an arc. That show gets very dark by the end. By the way,
yeah.
Like, spoiler alert. Like,
Vinny goes down.
Ari's going through a divorce. Vinny is in rehab.
Doesn't he get punched in the face?
Gets Sloane pregnant. Like, well, the guy like commits. Then the guy he comes out of rehab, and the guy like commits. Carl Urtz like commits suicide in front of him, the producer or whatever. The whole thing, or dies by suicide.
Why do they write that in?
The show, the show's final few seasons are not. I'm trying to think of like when I think it might jump the shark when Sasha Grey gets involved. I think that's
sure. That's 100%.
Yeah,
that was awful. It's over. Awful season.
Yeah. Fucking Mandy Moore. God damn you, Mandy Moore.
Yeah, and Sasha Grey's terrible, just terrible. Yeah, because that show really hums for.
You're familiar with her work,
Sasha Grey on Entourage. I don't know what else she does. Can't speak to her other work, to be honest. But boy, is she a bad actress. Bad actress. And to be honest, them having Vince do too many dramatic things, that Adrian Grenier just doesn't have the chops. He just can't get it done.
What, you mean when Vince doesn't want to do the movie and leaves, and then they can't find him, and then they have to call him, and then he calls Ari? He doesn't want to do the movie. He is
freaking Mandy Moore. I am Queens Boulevard. Are you kidding? I am Queens Boulevard. Medellin.
All he wants to do is Aquaman.
What a show.
No, he didn't want to do Aquaman.
He doesn't want to do Aquaman.
All he wanted to do was Medellin.
He wants to do Medellin for like 5 seasons of the show.
Fucking Pablo Escobar, baby. One day
that does have some of like
the Valley, my favorite episode.
That show has some of the great side character acting performances in terms of just being outright, like Johnny Chase, Billy Walsh, Ari, like all of those characters.
Lloyd,
are so good, and Lloyd, and they surround like the Vince character, which is just like the Vince character is like the least interesting part of the show, and everything.
He's like arguably the worst character in Entourage.
It's like how they cast they say they cast a season of The Bachelor where they just want the guy to be boring and all of the drama to come from all the girls. That's what the producers say. That's what Entourage is.
Pretty much.
Turtle's way better than him. He's fine.
He gets annoying. He gets very annoying.
Yeah.
All right, dude, stop crying. Like, shut up. Just go do Sloane. Like, go be with Sloane. Like, whatever.
Yeah. I love you, Sloane.
What an out kick.
Yeah.
He's the bad guy in Up, Up, and Away.
Who? The guy who plays E? What's his name? Kevin. Guy who owes Jersey Jerry. Yeah, he owes Jersey Jerry money.
Yeah.
Kevin Conley. All right. Nick Cannon Medley, Maryland Person of the Week. RDT.
I've been binging Last Chance U. It's so good. I love that show. The new season is the second season of the basketball team out in East LA. If you haven't seen the first season, go watch it. The second one is great. I'll probably finish it tonight. It's just so good. I love that show. I love any behind the scenes mic'd up sports show like Hard Knocks. I'd watch a high school volleyball team mic'd up, like a whole documentary on that. Anything mic'd up is just so much better. It's great. It's a very good show if you haven't watched it. Taylor wants to say something too. You want to fry me up?
No, it's good.
Oh,
no, I thought you were gonna. No, 100%.
Have you watched it?
I haven't watched as much of the seasons of some of those as I would have liked. just haven't, and they were right up my alley. The basketball one was much better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, this one is
really,
it's really, really good because again, it's like right after the COVID. You know, they're still in COVID. Like the episode I just watched, guys are testing. They just had like 9 people test positive. It's oh, I love it so much. It sucks. It's only 8 episodes. I want it to be like 15, but I'm excited to finish it. So
thanks.
It's Messi. It has to be Messi. Couldn't be anybody else. He's the GOAT. Say it, Taylor. I want you to say it.
No, wait. In terms of Ronaldo versus Messi or versus like Maradona and Pele, I'd have to think about that more.
Just say it.
He's better than Ronaldo.
I'll take it.
Yes, he's better. More accomplished. Yeah, he's better.
Did you see the video of him going to his house today?
Incredible.
It was insane.
No, I mean he did it. Now the funny part about the Messi run, and this is not me taking anything away from it. I'm just saying something. If Ronaldo pen merchants his way through all of those games, he gets absolutely crushed. Messi was lauded, but Messi was amazing. Go ahead. Keep your Messi thing going. I hijacked it for a second there.
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's just a historic run. It's been an awesome storyline. It's the world's biggest stage in sports, and he came through in a big way and on multiple occasions. Yeah, it was awesome. Awesome game. All-time game.
Game was
I would say I will piggyback, and mine is that game. That's the best sporting event of the year. The best singular sporting event of the year is that game. In 2022, I was trying to think of something like comparable, and I'm sure
the Netherlands game.
Bills Chiefs.
Yeah, Bills Chiefs. I think is probably something that people would say, but that was like, I think I said this in the. I don't remember if I said this in the group chat with you, Banks. Like I had no dog in the fight. I was rooting for France just out of sheer having fun with you guys, but like I really had no. I was sweating, like pacing around, sweating in the final 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. It was so incredibly good, and like one of the greatest sports talk radio like cliche torch passes you will ever see. Like Messi, even though the older guy won, like Messi wins, but Mbappe comes out looking like $1 trillion. He was incredible in the game. Like he made 2 PKs too, but has the amazing equalizer on the volley. Like he looked, the game had everything. It had everything. Mm-hmm. It's like a little bit of a shame it ended on PKs because you would have liked to see a team just win in regulation. But you thought that Argentina had it, and then France gets the PK. The World Cup was incredible, despite all of the Qatar stuff, which is bad, and you would hope that they do not send it back to a country like that. They absolutely will. They're going to freaking probably send it to Saudi Arabia in 2030, but hopefully they don't. It was like you said, Netherlands, Argentina was amazing. Brazil, Croatia was amazing. Like so many of the semifinals were a little bit better. It would have been nice, but like tons of great stuff in the group stage. Saudi Arabia beat Argentina 3.5 weeks ago.
I was gonna say like that storyline got there. It was like one of the biggest.
Argentina lost the first game.
Yeah.
Lost the first game, and then were amazing after that. They were incredible after that. The scenes from Buenos Aires, all of this like drone footage and the street footage is just all time. Like it's so cool, and it just shows you what this stuff means to those countries. Like there is not any singular thing in America that would rally that fervent a support behind one thing. I don't think. Like if the U.S. was in the World Cup final, there would not be 3.5 million people on the streets of New York today. Like just wouldn't happen. Different situation. They just care more than, and that's not like a reason that it's just a religion. It's amazing. It was so cool. All the images from that. What a game.
The announcer crying like
Andres Cantor.
Andres Cantor. Yeah.
To say,
Yeah. It was a fantastic sporting event happening today. I mean, I felt bad for Fox because they had to do like all right, now we'll send it to Jacksonville. And it's like,
for the trophy presentation, switch over to FS1.
Yeah, switch over, pop over to FS1. People are like, fuck this. Nothing they can do about that. Like, they've got to go to the NFL game, but like that game.
Here's Jets Lions.
Like let's go to Kevin Burkhardt.
It literally was the Eagles or the Cowboys Jags in this market. It was tough.
It was tough. So Nothing they can do. That's why I have FS1, but awesome World Cup. And this is why it's awesome. It's every 4 years because now it just builds and builds and builds. And that's why it means so much that Messi's won it and, stakes a claim as arguably the best guy ever. He's now in that. It's now him, Pele, and Maradona. Those are the three guys. Those are the three guys in the conversation.
Someone had a good point, and they were like, the USA couldn't have asked for much more with this World Cup, being like the team was pretty exciting. And then again, Sunday morning, you had all of America tuned in watching it and like on the edge of their seat and like getting super excited for it, because again, it was all over the timeline. Everyone was talking about it. And then the next time there's a World Cup game, it's going to be, it's going to be here. So they were
sure.
Like, you really worked out for
the only thing that would be better is if Messi could somehow make it 4 years from now and you'd have him like playing in these games on U.S. soil, which he probably won't. He's 35, I think. I don't think he makes it. Maybe he does. But they created, the new star got created. Mbappe is a worldwide superstar. Mm-hmm. But in terms of in this country, accelerating that, if you watch that and he has everything you want. Like he's exciting, he's fearless, he's competitive. He plays for one of the best teams.
Clutch.
And
delivers.
He's clutch. Yeah, he was sensational. So yeah, you're right. 4 years from now, these games are going to be here, which is, I hope non-soccer people buy in when the World Cup is here because there's really no event in sports like it. Like it gets compared to the Olympics, but they're different events. I think in terms of how they, like we are a very big Olympics country. Like we see, and so are tons, but like we dominate in so many things. Like the fun part for me now about the World Cup is trying to figure out how the U.S. can possibly like beat all of these countries where like this is the thing. This is the thing everybody else in the world wants to win except for us. And I think we're starting to figure out that like, oh, this would be like it's amazing. It's an amazing event. It's an amazing event. And that's not like, I hate the there was PTI was on at one point, like breaking it down and Wilbon's like, how could we possibly win? The best athletes not playing the sport is one of the dumbest arguments in the history of sports. But we win at everything else and we have athletes spread around. It's just because we're not as good at soccer as the rest of these countries. And maybe we'll get there. Great World Cup. That is mine. The World Cup and that game are mine. Any honorable mentions before we get to dead or alive? I would say the holiday season.
Holiday cheer.
Happy holidays to you and yours, guys. Holiday cheer.
Well said.
Dum bum 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 bum. Also, New Year's is coming. RDT's favorite holiday.
That's whatever. Whatever.
I think, didn't you? Am I wrong? And you got I don't like New Year's take. Am I wrong about that? Did you go on that take? I feel like you've said that before. Maybe
so,
I'm making that up.
I may have said that.
I don't know.
Oh, maybe it was you, Banks. I feel like we've talked about that.
I definitely talked about it before. But I don't know.
I'm not big on it. It's a lot of fuss. I'm not into fuss.
Interesting one with the Ravens game the day after at 1:00.
Mm-hmm. Steelers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With a Maryland basketball game on the road at 4:30. Tough scheduling. Don't like that.
Yeah.
Against Michigan, Hunter Dickinson. Dead or alive, Banks? What do you got?
Fred Willard.
Died in 2020.
Yeah, I think he's dead.
He was canceled.
He died.
He died.
He died in 2020. He sure did.
May of 2020, right?
RDT nailed that.
I think I just saw some.
Why
TikTok,
do you know?
Because there was some TikTok and it was like celebrities you forgot died, and it was like Bob Saget. And it was like nobody forgot. Nobody forgot Bob Saget died. Like, it was like, and then the next, I swear to God, it was like Betty White. It was like, again, nobody forgot that Betty White died. Like Princess Diana, and I was like, what is this? What is going on? And Fred Willard
Epstein.
Fred Willard was one of them, and it was like died like May of 2020, and I was like, oh, that's right, yeah, I forgot he died. So that's why I know so much about Fred Willard.
Yeah, May 15th, 2020.
Yep, nailed it.
Not my best.
See you, Fred.
See ya. Out, homie.
No, I'm just looking at my list, and some of these make me laugh. I could get pretty dark with some of these things.
We'll get to that next. We'll get to that next week.
Yeah, this is the holiday season. I'll save you
Chico
guys.
Conquo, 84.3 receiving grade this season, second highest among all tight ends according to PFF.
He broke the record
Good
for
draft pick.
Titans rookie tight end receiving yards.
Really?
Yeah, it's like 375.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like,
why check a freshman on or freshman of?
No, because he played on the Redskins.
That's right. That's it for this week's show. X52 podcast. We out. We're gonna try to do a instant analysis. Obviously, it is Christmas Eve, so there's a variety of.
We talked about it before you got on, Banks. It may just be Taylor and I.
Yeah.
You enjoy your church. It's okay.
Yeah, you enjoy your church. We knew you backed out. That's why. Well, I may have
go spend the day with the Lord or whatever you're doing. Go.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get to the pigs in a blanket, man.
Yeah, we talked about this before. That was a shock to you. No, you are coming on. I don't care if you're coming on live from the homily.
That's going to go over great.
Interview Father Paul and see what his thoughts are.
Yeah, bring him on. So yeah, probably will just be.
It might be a road game for me, technically, not just because it's in Wisconsin, but anyways, carry on.
Me and RDT may try to get something done quick because I don't know if we're then going to jump in on Christmas Day and do an instant analysis. So we are going to try to do it. If not, we'll be back for the weekly show next week, although I will be down at the Duke's Mayo Bowl starting on Monday. So we shall see how we pull off podcasting next week as well. As things, as I was saying, I think I said this before you got on, Bags, to RDT. Like, I have missed so much Ravens football for like the last month and a half, just based on random things popping up right during the games. So I'm excited to just watch the entire game on Saturday. That will be fun for me.
Oh, those are famous
get
last
locks
words.
On with you.
Yeah, exactly. Something's gonna happen now. I'm not gonna see any of it.
Last words. I'm excited to watch the Ravens Falcons on Saturday.
I'm trying to remember when I potted during the Pinstripe Bowl week. Was I on? When did we do it? Did we do it? I don't remember what we did.
I don't remember either.
I have no idea.
Go back.
I don't remember.
I
don't know. I don't remember.
Done it from a road trip before with you guys, but not. I don't remember doing it that week. Maybe we skipped the week. Maybe we skipped the holiday week last week. Maybe we'll do that again. I don't know. I'll go back and look. I don't feel like we'd skipped a week, but I'll go back and look. Thanks to our sponsors, Thud of Midnight, Jimmy Seafood, Fed Thrill. Appreciate them. And as I said, happy holidays to all of our listeners. Very much appreciate you listening throughout the year and enjoy the holiday time. Maybe listening to the X52 podcast, traveling around. It's good little travel companion for you over the next couple of days. Very much appreciate everyone. Happy holidays to you and yours. And we will see you next time on the Exit 52 podcast presented by Jimmy Seafood.